The South China Sea is more than water, it's a crossroads of history and power. Today, it's a global artery for commerce, and a flashpoint for conflict. Multiple nations claim these waters, but China's ambitions overshadow its neighbors. Each reef and island is a symbol of sovereignty and pride. For China, the sea is about power and destiny. The South China Sea is now the main arena for US-China rivalry. The stakes, prosperity, national pride, and the balance of power in Asia. Each incident could spark a wider conflict. The world holds its breath. China is transforming from a continental power into a maritime force. Its shipyards churn out warships at a staggering pace, destroyers, frigates, aircraft carriers. This is Xi Jinping's China dream in steel and firepower. These are not research outposts. They are military fortresses with runways, ports, and missile systems. China's strategy, anti-access, area denial, makes the South China Sea dangerous for US forces. This is gray zone warfare, coercion without open conflict. The world sees a fundamental shift. The open seas are being contested, one reef at a time. The USS Decatur, a US Navy destroyer, sails near the Spratly Islands, challenging China's claims. This freedom of navigation patrol is routine, but the stakes are anything but. China responds fast. The destroyer Lanzhou intercepts, shadowing the Decatur at close range. Over the radio, the Chinese captain demands the Americans leave. The US captain stands firm, citing international law. Tension escalates, two warships bristling with weapons on a collision course. Suddenly, the Lanzhou cuts across the Decatur's bow, just 45 yards away. At sea, that's a heartbeat from disaster. The Decatur's crew takes emergency action to avoid a crash. A collision could have sparked a major conflict. This was no accident. It was a deliberate signal from Beijing. China is willing to risk confrontation to enforce its claims. The era of unchallenged US naval dominance is over. The message: these waters are no longer open to all. The US and China are now locked in a dangerous game of brinkmanship. This single incident made the rivalry real, no longer theory, but a perilous standoff. The world saw how close we are to the edge. The South China Sea is now a stage for high-stakes power plays. Every patrol, every maneuver could be the spark. The risk of escalation is ever present. The rules of engagement are being rewritten. The consequences could be global. The world cannot look away. The danger is real. On the bridge of the USS Decatur, tension is palpable. The Chinese captain's voice crackles over the radio. Change course or face consequences. American officers remain calm, citing international law, but every sailor is on high alert. The Chinese destroyer looms closer. 1,000 yards, 500, 200. Proximity alarms blare. The atmosphere is electric. The Decatur's captain faces a split-second choice: hold course or evade. The Chinese maneuver is aggressive, violating maritime safety rules. The Decatur turns hard, engines roaring, water churning. The two warships pass within feet, crisis narrowly averted. Silence follows, heavy with what might have been. The Chinese ship continues to shadow the Decatur. The incident is documented: photos, videos, reports. For the crew, this is more than geopolitics. It's a personal brush with danger. They've stared down a potential adversary, felt the heat of near conflict. The memory will last a lifetime. The world sees the human cost of great power rivalry. These moments are not just headlines, they're lived experiences. The line between peace and war is razor thin. Every decision matters. The stakes are not abstract, they're life and death. The South China Sea is a crucible for courage and caution. The lessons are sobering. The world is watching. The near collision sparks a diplomatic firestorm. The Pentagon condemns China's actions as unsafe and unprofessional. The US vows to continue operating wherever international law allows. China fires back, accusing the US of provocation and defending its sovereignty. Each side talks past the other. One frames the issue as freedom of navigation, the other as territorial integrity. The diplomatic exchange is a series of monologues, not a dialogue. Allies like Australia and Japan support the US, citing the importance of open seas. Others remain silent or call for calm, wary of angering China. The region is polarized. Every nation must weigh its interests in this new environment. The incident exposes a fundamental divide. Rule of law versus national sovereignty. The fallout is immediate. Statements, press conferences, and global headlines. The South China Sea is now a central fault line in world politics. The world's attention is fixed on the region. The stakes are clear order or chaos, dialogue or confrontation. The war of words is just as fierce as the standoff at sea. The contest is not just military, it's ideological. The outcome will shape the future of the region. The world waits for the next move. The world watches the near miss with alarm. This is not a minor dispute, it's a clash between superpowers. Footage of the incident makes the danger real for all. Experts agree. China's maneuver marks a new confrontational era. Southeast Asian claimants like the Philippines and Vietnam see their fears confirmed. US allies, Japan, Australia, reaffirm support for freedom of navigation. European powers send their own ships, signaling global concern. The incident is a wake-up call. The rules-based order is under threat. If China can rewrite maritime law here, what stops others elsewhere? The South China Sea is now a test case for the international system. The era of great power competition has returned. The consequences are global, not regional. The world is on notice. The standoff changes the risk calculus for all maritime nations. The South China Sea is a vital artery. Trillions in trade pass through each year. Military brinkmanship raises costs and uncertainty for global shipping. The Chinese maneuver violates basic maritime safety rules. If such conduct spreads, the seas become more dangerous for everyone. Navies must now train for high-stakes encounters and crisis management. The psychological pressure on commanders is immense. A single misjudgment could have global consequences. The principle of the global commons is eroding. China's expansive claims threaten to turn shared seas into national territory. If this precedent spreads, the world becomes more fragmented and contested. The stakes are not just regional, they're global. The world's oceans are at a crossroads. At the heart of the conflict is China's 9-dash line, a sweeping claim over most of the South China Sea. This line cuts into the exclusive zones of Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, and Brunei. China calls it historical right, but international law disagrees. The line first appeared in 1947, ignored for decades, but now central to Chinese nationalism. It's printed in passports, taught in schools, and fiercely defended. In 2016, an international tribunal rejected China's claims, siding with the Philippines. The ruling affirmed the primacy of international law over unilateral historical claims. China rejected the verdict, doubled down on militarization, and ignored the outcome. The USS Decatur incident was a physical assertion of China's defiance. Beijing is making its own rules and enforcing them with warships. The 9-dash line is now a symbol of power, pride, and confrontation. The world faces a choice: uphold the law or accept a new order. The conflict is about more than maps. It's about the future of the seas. The stakes are legal, political, and existential. The South China Sea is the proving ground. The outcome will echo far beyond Asia. The world is watching. The South China Sea standoff is a symptom of a deeper shift in global power. The US and China are locked in a long-term strategic competition, economic, technological, and military. The maritime domain is the most direct and dangerous front. Naval encounters here are the bellwether for the future of US-China relations. Both sides want to avoid war, but mechanisms for dialogue are fragile. Nationalism and miscalculation could easily tip the balance. The underlying tensions, competing claims, clashing worldviews, are intensifying. The Thucydides trap looms. Can a rising power and an established one avoid conflict? Statesmen must show restraint, wisdom, and a willingness to compromise. The South China Sea will remain the place to watch. Each encounter signals the direction of the rivalry. Will the powers share the Pacific or spiral into escalation? The future is unwritten, the risks immense. The world hopes leaders navigate these waters with care. The next chapter is being written now.